So for those of you that are just signing on, we're just waiting for some more people to get here. We're not going to penalize you for being on time. We will start probably sometime between 10:03 and 10:05. Just making some small talk before the event. Megan, are you at Viasat campuses or are you at your remote location?
I'm at my remote location right now. I do pop into our headquarters in Carlsbad at least once a week to do check-ins. It's my home there, so when you're away from your home too long, you kind of have to go check in and get those home cooked meals and see everyone that is there. So I'm excited for us
Absolutely.
to return back within the next few weeks. So gotta get everything ready, dust off those cobwebs, everything.
And Emma, I know you're not on campus because they're not allowing people on campus yet. So you must be at your remote location.
Yes, I am. I'm so eager to get back on campus, not till September. So that's when I'm finally allowed back on with the rest of the students. So very eager.
Now I'm sure you'll have to have proof of vaccination, probably.
Definitely. Oh yeah, I think I have to carry my vaccine card with me like everywhere at all times. Like I should probably laminate it just so it doesn't get like stained or ruined or anything. It's like the golden ticket nowadays. So,
Well, they're saying you shouldn't because later on, you may need boosters or something. So I don't know if I'd laminate it.
yeah, maybe I'll hold off then, but I'll keep it in a
Well, I
safe
know that
spot.
all the employees at Tech San Diego are 100% vaccinated, which is nice.
Yeah, which is awesome. It's exciting. It's nice that things are finally opening up again and that we can hopefully collaborate in person again. So,
Well, it's a tough transition, right? I mean, I still find myself I believe in the vaccine and I don't think I have to wear a mask, but I still catch myself doing it. And it's difficult making that transition. And sometimes you're someplace and you see all these people without masks. You say, hey, you got to put a mask. And no one's wearing a mask, right? Oh, we don't have to. So it's going to be a difficult transition for a lot of us.
A little bit of a PTSD in a way, honestly. And
Yeah.
somebody sneezes and I like look at them and I realize it's allergy season, Megan. Winds are blowing, things are drying out. It's not COVID related, hopefully, but it's more just allergies. I know it used to be before whenever I would sneeze, I would be like, oh no, people are gonna exile me. And now
Well,
I look at
I say it
people
out loud, but I say allergies, allergies, allergies.
no.
smart. I mean, I need to start doing that. I know every morning I take my Zyrtec just to make sure I don't sneeze in front of people.
Oh,
For
totally.
those of
That,
you
and if you do,
signing on, we're just making a little bit of small talk before we get started. We will get started like 10:03, 10:05-ish. So hold on for a second. We see a bunch of folks signing on, and we will be with you in just a second. We're just making a little bit of small talk before the event so you don't have to suffer through complete silence. And as soon as I said that, we went silent.
We went silent. We did go
I
silent. I
know.
did see Sarah post about the Padres games versus the Diamondbacks. I'm so excited for the Padres and how well they're doing this year. Fernando Tatis, Machado, all of them are just they're killing it. And I'm not a
Yeah,
big Padre
totally.
fan. I will admit I'm a Giants fan. I come from the Bay Area, relocated down here for school, and just end up loving the weather, the people, my companies I've worked with, and I stayed. And so my husband's a big Padre fan, so he's always trying to get me into it. So we were watching the game last night, and I'm not gonna lie, I definitely got intrigued, as well as it's always fun seeing Viasat's name pop up on the screen every once in a while too. So
Definitely. I know, and all the games have been sold out too, so it's such a hot ticket to get. So I mean, I know the stadium was packed last night. They broke broadcast ratings in San Diego, so it's awesome. I mean, it's great for the team and for the
In fact,
community
I
too.
think Emma's going to make that announcement when we get started that we're going to give away a set of Padres ticket at the end of the event if you stay.
Yep. That's the key.
exactly. It's fun. It's a great stadium as well. It's very
Oh my
modern,
gosh.
it's very family friendly, which I really enjoy and I appreciate. Even before I had my little family, growing family now, I appreciate that they always had like a kids area. That's just everything for everyone. Secret tiki lounge, a rest area, and just it's fun. I love San
Right.
Diego. Who doesn't? I mean, I'm still here.
What's not to love? There's just so many great things to do, and the ballpark is awesome. Like once you get a ticket, you don't have to stay at your seat, which is awesome. They have Kids Fest every Sunday, party in the park over the weekend, so it's really like a fun event to go to. It's like way more than baseball.
And who doesn't love the area around it? You can go bar hopping if you love drinking, trying out different foods. There's always great different restaurants around, trying everything new. And then you don't really have to drive. Jump on the coaster, come down, let somebody else
Yeah,
chauffeur you.
it's really one of the few ballparks that really did what it said it was going to do to really transform a downtown region. I mean, you guys may not remember, but I was here in 2000, and I remember what that area looked like before the ballpark. And there's a lot of liquor stores, a lot of pawn shops, and a lot of shady stuff around there, and just really transformed that area downtown.
I'm very excited to see how the Qualcomm Stadium transformed for the SDSU students, and I believe that's being converted right to their football team stadium and that whole area. So I'm excited to see how that transforms and everything. Just San Diego grow even more and supports.
Well, it's 10:05. So again, I don't want to penalize the people that were right on time. So welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Kevin Carroll. I'm the Executive Director of Tech San Diego. We are a nonprofit trade association that supports the regional tech industry. Of course, Viasat is a member of Tech San Diego and has been for quite a while. But for these purposes, we're really talking about encouraging internships and helping with internships. A lot of our activities is really around talent acquisition. We understand how challenging it is both retaining and recruiting talent. In fact, we're the only trade association now. We have a full-time person that's actually on campus when campus is open, really making those connections between the regional tech community and the student population. In fact, other stakeholders, whether that's IP and tech transfer or whatever it is, making those connections between the tech community and the universities. Primarily UCSD, but we touch base with SDSU and USD and some of the other ones too, and that'll be expanding out as time goes by. So with that said, you can always check techsd.org. We put out a monthly talent pulse that tells you exactly what kind of jobs are hot according to the actual postings of jobs. If you get on our mailing list, you'll get that once a month. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Emma Herreyes. Emma is our talent director for the Jacobs Talent Initiative. That's the umbrella of all of our kind of talent activities that have to do with the universities. So Emma, I'm saying a little bit about yourself, and then I am going to go ahead and you could introduce the speaker, and I will go off camera. Just logistics real quick. There is a question box. If you have questions, put them in there. Emma and I will be monitoring them and then ask them at the end of the presentation by Megan. So Emma, it's all yours.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Emma Herreyes, and I'm the talent director of the Jacobs Talent Initiative here at Tech San Diego. So essentially, I serve as a liaison between university talent and local companies by sourcing interns, spotlighting member companies through our on-campus events, advertising job postings on our monthly newsletter, the JTI Campus Connection, where students have exclusive and first access to apply to such postings, and also informing students about the employment opportunities in the region. So if any of you need help sourcing interns, would like to spotlight your company on campus, I'm happy to help facilitate those efforts, and I will put my email in the chat box below. So switching gears a bit, we're so excited to have you all today to learn about Viasat's internship program and the keys to their success. And as a reminder, please stay until the end for a chance to win Padres tickets to the game on Sunday against the Diamondbacks. So Viasat has one of the most reputable and largest internship programs, not only in the region, but in the country as well. With over 140 interns this year, Viasat has demonstrated they know how to run a successful internship program with high employment retention rates. So today, representing Viasat is Megan Carongcong, who oversees the internship program and is a talent acquisition leader. She has been at Viasat just under 5 years and is here to share insight into her success and also Viasat's success. I'd like to welcome Megan to introduce herself and proceed with her presentation.
Thank you so much, Emma. Hello, everyone, and good morning. I know most of you are here in San Diego. I'm excited to talk with you all today, share some insights and tricks that we've learned over the years here at Viasat and while I've been here helping with the internship program, and hopefully getting you all on board to see, yes, I can do this and I can create an internship program and how I can help support you through that. So with that being said, let me go ahead and share my screen and get my presentation popped up here. 1 second. Let me go ahead and get this started. We'll go from current slide. Hopefully you can see this all well. If I switch to the presenter view, just want to make sure you all see it still in the regular view, or are you seeing it in presenter view? Emma or Kevin, can
Yeah,
you guys?
we're seeing it in presenter view.
Okay, no
Megan.
problem. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and switch it then. Let's go ahead and switch it to the regular view because I don't want you guys have to do this. So let's go ahead and, oops, it's not going to do that for me. Let me switch this. Let me go from current slide. Let's do this. I got this down and I feel comfortable. I don't need the presenter view. Okay, here we go. So today I'm excited to talk to you all about kind of just, the key parts to establish a successful program. I call it, the blueprints of creating an internship programming. So before we get into that, who am I? So Emma gave me an amazing glowing introduction. So I feel like I don't really need to talk about myself too much other than my name is Megan Carongcong. I work here at Viasat and I am the University Relations and Recruiting Teams Program Specialist. I run a few different programs here at Viasat, but the nearest and dearest to my heart is the Internship Program, which is currently under its way right now as we are in the summertime. So I work for Viasat. Some of you may not know who Viasat and what we do. We are a telecommunication company that provides satellite internet, both commercially to our consumers and as well to our government. So commercially thinking, as we provide it to different car services, so as well as different airlines. You may see us on JetBlue if you fly that, or even internationally. To our consumers, we have small businesses that use our internet to help supply themselves, as well as we also do thinking about it for those residentially. So those who are living out in rural areas who may not be able to have those ground line internet services, we're able to provide them satellite services. So thinking about really rural areas, not just here in the United States, but actually internationally. Our biggest ones that I think about is back when Puerto Rico had the biggest, hurricane devastation that happened, we were able to partner up with FEMA and everyone to help provide emergency satellite communications so they can talk to their different areas and support services so they can go out and rescue people and provide doctors via telecommunications to help their patients right then and there where we may not have been able to do that before. And then military-wise, again, those who are on the front line battles fields who may be surrounded by enemy fires, being able to call out for help and be able to be picked up and scared. So always thinking about our frontline workers. And so again, what my goal of today is to really prep you all to feel secure about what it takes to run a successful internship program, what are some key aspects to kind of get started. I'll try to get into some nitty gritties here and there, but really trying to keep it, top line so you feel comfortable. I'll share along the way things that we've learned here at Viasat as we've grown over the years, what we have done right, what we've done wrong. I'll share that. We'll be open and honest about that. And then what our next steps are. We are hoping to go really globally with our internships. We do have a couple of international internship programs, but we really want to expand more. And how do we support those programs internationally? So here we go. As we are talking about, the title of this is the blueprints to an internship program. So when you think of blueprints, you think of a house. That's usually the first thing that comes into mind. Or at least maybe that's what's coming into mind now because that's the hot topic of going on here in the world of how do we get a house when the housing market is just booming and whatnot. So, we think about a few different things of how do we make a business case? Oops, I'm missing this on my business case, thinking about the foundation. How do you grow an internship program? And what do you think about a house of what you need? Do you like an open floor plan? How many bedrooms do you want? Do you want a closed space? What kind of feel? And thinking about that structure, that feel. Do you want it to be modern? Do you want it to be a farmhouse? Things like that. And then lastly, what is that finished product? When you're ready and you're proud to show it off to the business, show your results, show your family. When you think about a house, you think about a family. And when we're at work, we want people to come and enjoy the work that they're doing. We want them to feel comfortable, almost like a family, right? So that's how we are really kind of structuring today to be more of like a house setup and going through that process. So we'll start with the business case, right? Step one, you got to make a business case up to show what is the need for an internship program. Is it important? What can you get out of it? And so when I think of a business case, I think of Shark Tank, right? Dun, dun, dun. You know, you're walking in, you're introducing yourself, saying, I'm Megan Carongcong, and I want to propose to create an internship program. I need so amount of money to bring in this amount of people. And the strategic of it all is I need your help, right? You're looking at your business and saying, I need your help. So you're really doing that sales pitch to your groups about the purpose. You're telling them about the benefits. You know, you're helping to build the brand of the company. You're helping to create a future pipeline for the company so that way people know who you are, get them in, test them. It's a short-term investment, right? Your interns, when they come, they're not here for years at a time. You know, you're thinking about them maybe 10, 12 weeks. Usually by the time they finish their schooling to just before they start. Obviously, you want to give them a little bit of a break in between. So we find here at Viasat about 10 to 12 weeks is kind of that sweet spot. You're talking to them about upfront costs, how much it's going to cost to invest. I won't deny sometimes doing an internship program is going to cost the business money, right? But sometimes you need to invest in your house to raise the market price of your house, right? And then you're going to want to talk to them about the projections on the return of investment for starting this. What's the purpose of it? Well, if we bring people in, they learn about us and they work on the project, so we're getting benefits from it. And then when they go to leave, they're hopefully being little mini brand ambassadors out to their other fellow students, roommates, friends, or whoever about who you are as a company, that maybe they'll entice other friends to, hey, when they have an opening, I'm going to apply there because that sounds cool. I want to try to make an impact, or I want to start that. And how do I be a part of that company? And then also, you're going to talk to them about your forecasting needs. You know, yes, it's great to hire for the roles that you need now, but you got to start thinking about in the future, how does the company want to grow? In order to grow, you need more people, right? And so you need maybe specializations of people. Do you need data analytics students? Do you need more marketing, more really beef up your operations chains? And how do you grow them? And so kind of just thinking about that futuristically. So we'll go more about that in a bit. And again, that future growth. Some tips I have, it's okay to start small. Start small with a group, test it out, and also be honest about your costs. You know, you don't want to go way under and then all of a sudden you're going back and say, actually, I need more money. I need more money. You know, we always hated that as the kids when we're like, hey, mom and dad, yeah, this is only going to be like $5, $10. You're like, actually, it's going to be $20. Like, wait, that's double in price. So it's better to be open and honest and saying, this is what the cost could be at the intern. And if you shoot underneath the budget, fantastic. It's a huge win for you. So we'll start going on to the next of talking about when we're talking about the business case of it all and all that. That's how you are. You pitch your purpose of it, and they're getting in there. They're like, okay, let's do this. I get the purpose. I see where we can do. Let's talk about the next step, which is how do we create a foundation for your internship? So you're thinking about it when you're buying the house, you got your partner in line. They're like, okay, let's do it. We got bank money securing us saying this is how much you can afford of your program. Let's go find out the perfect house, right? So you're trying to put it together. How many bedrooms do I want? How many baths do I want? Open concept, things like that. So thinking about your foundation, it's the same thing about your internship program. How do you want the structure of your internship program to be? How do you want it to lay out to be? How do you want the feel and the experience so when they leave, they make that, and you make that lasting impression and you're making those end results. So we think about a foundation, right? You don't want something to be too topside heavy on one side where your house is uneven, right? You don't want to start with a broken foundation where you really don't know anything and you're kind of like, I just want to piece this together and we'll just make it work. No, if it's level set and you feel good in what you're doing, your house will be strong, your program will be strong, and you will feel comfortable and more confident as you work through your program. So as we go through this, some topics I will talk about in foundation and thinking about your program is talking about forecasting. Again, we mentioned that in the buying in part of it. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. We'll talk about intern projects, right? You don't want to bring an intern in and you're like, oh, we're just, that nephew's cousin's son's dog walker's fish owner. This is somebody who is beneficial, has a skill set that your company needs, and you want them to make an important impact, right? You're investing in them. So why wouldn't you want them to do important work for you? So talking about internship projects, kind of the different scopes and things about it when you're talking back to the business with that. Budget. I know it gets a little cringy and everyone hates the word budget, but again, thinking about budget, what do you need to budget around? Food, potential gratitude gifts, a welcome gift. And again, those aren't necessary to make an amazing program, but they are some aspects if you have the budget to make it work. So we'll kind of go over that. Again, it's always a little bit optional to those things. You can create fun, free experiences. And let me tell you, I'm all about nickel and diamond and saving a buck or two here. So if I can create a fun experience on a budget, let's do it. It's free. That's for me. All right. And then next, you want to think about choosing the right team or the right manager that's going to lead these interns. We'll go about that more, but really your managers makes the best experience. Events, food, welcome guests, that's cool, but they come and go. The impression that your manager makes and the projects they make makes a huge lasting impression. And then the overall end experience. What do you want to get out of this internship, and what do you want the interns to get out of this experience and the managers to get out of this, or the business to get out of this? So kind of think about that. So we'll go into forecasting. So what is forecasting, you may be asking, right? Forecasting is the process of determining determining the future business needs compared to the strategy plan alignment, and assessing how interns, maybe potentially university grads or early career people, can impact those needs, and mapping their roles to the business aligned project and those needed skill sets. So really thinking about, thinking out again, where do we want to grow the company, and what aspect of people do we need to get there? And you're thinking about within your company of, okay, I got, Joe Schmo, who's amazing at his current role, but he's showing leadership abilities. So if I bring somebody in, I can move Joe to this leadership role to help build that group and build that team and people underneath. But in order to do that, I need to backfill Joe. In order to do that, I need to have 3 other people to do his one role, right? To grow that out. But you can't just do that overnight. As much as we wish we can just go on to online and find people or post about it, it's not always going to be as smooth of a process, right? So what we need to do is think about, okay, if I bring in interns, they learn about the company, they're giving us work, we're learning about the brand, they're disseminating out the brand and who we are. Hopefully it'll bring in more referrals, who then we can hopefully fill those roles with interns, because then we don't have to ramp them up, right? They finish the internship and we're like, they're amazing, please don't leave us. How do we keep them? Will you offer them a returning either internship role or a university grad role or an early career role, however your company calls it, and you keep them, and hopefully you keep them enticed, so that way when they start, again, you're building that chain up and that growth up, right? So you're thinking about that forecasting. Now for Viasat, I'll be honest, some things we've learned is that over the years is that we didn't always forecast correctly. And that's a learning lesson for us that hopefully we can prevent you from having to learn from us, which is sometimes we get so invested in our internship program. We're like, how big can we make this, right? But it's not always converting to our forecast of what we're saying full-time roles are for the future. So we're bringing in for a team, maybe 10 interns, but out of it, we're only really going to hire 1 of them. And we're noticing that conversion rate was just not rightly aligned. And if not having that correct alignment was actually leading us to kind of a bad reputation with some of the students of saying, hey, they're running an amazing program, it's cool, the things are great, but when you go to leave, you better have a better luck at winning the lotto than getting a job with them, because they're hiring so many of them for only one position. So we had to go back to the business and say, hey, let's get this ratio down, because do you really need to have that many interns? Are you really looking for an intern to meet your future goals and your roles and using this as a future pipeline? Or are you just using them for temporary hiring to get projects done? Because if that's so, you need to be hiring temp workers or temp employees with contracts, so they have that set expectations. I'm here at Viasat for a certain amount of time, either amazing, I may convert, or hey, it was fun, it was great, nice doing business with you, but I'm going to go and find somebody else. And so they have that clear expectation. And so without ruining that brand. Now you may say, well, what's the purpose? Interns are here for a short term, it doesn't matter. Well, there is investment. Again, we're thinking about that budget. So events potentially, their cost of salary. If you're going to relocate an intern and provide them housing or housing stipends, there's that. And then you got to think about all the additional costs that can add up quicker than a temp employee that maybe you're doing with an outside agency or within house. So again, those costs and benefits, you got to think about that. But then it's not just the cost, it's the reputation that you have with students. Now you just think, oh, one bad employee, it's fine. Maybe they put a bad Glassdoor review and you move on. But with students, it's a little bit different. With students, they're going back to their universities in the fall and their spring, and they're telling everyone in their class. They're telling anyone that can hear them and will give them platform to say, this company was cool, but they won't hire you, so there's no point. And that reputation can really affect you for 5 to 7 years. Now, I don't mean to scare you, because this really could be a beneficial thing to you. If you're projecting correctly and you're doing that ratio correctly, it can be a very sweet spot, which is why I wanted to share that tidbit with you of, hey, of that perfect ratio, hiring 10 interns for one role, maybe not so much. Hiring 3 interns for one role, lots of better odds. 10% versus 33, I'm going to take the 33% as an intern, right? So you could really benefit yourself and grow your pipeline if you're very strategic about how you forecast. So hopefully that was clear and you understand that. Moving on, again, continuing through our foundations of, of creating a good platform for your internship, you're going to think about the internship projects, right? You're not going to bring interns in, pay them good money for them to go out and fetch you coffee or to go make you copies. No, you want them to be here to learn about your business, learn about what they're doing, and so they can expand the horizons. So if you're thinking about it, you want to think about it as a roadmap of how do you get them from the start to the finish of being a great intern and how to help them. So things to think about when you're kind of mapping out an internship project, really kind of keep these questions in mind. Thinking about, what's the time frame for this completion? Can this project that I'm giving the intern be completed within the time frame the intern is here? Because you want them to feel a sense of accomplishment. I joined, they gave me a problem, I worked through it, I finished it, right? We always feel great when we finish a job and we finish a task, and we want that for the interns. Self-love and not entitlement, but pride. And so you want them to have that pride. So can it fit in there? And then think about, what is it, the problem or the work that can be done, and how can they work through that? Next is, what access will they need? Do I need to get them cleared with security or access admin, your IT group, whoever kind of that process is for you? What access do they need, or what limitations do they need? So thinking about that. Next, what kind of guidance do you have for the interns? What we do here at Viasat is that we kind of, once we've hired them, we have their assigned managers reach out to them about about a month, 2 months before they start, to get them excited. We may not always know as soon as they start or we hire them what they're going to be working on this summer, because things are constantly changing. And they may finish a project or a budget of things, and you're like, oh shoot, I need to give the intern something else. So we try to get them pumped up before they start, saying, hey, John, this is what you're going to be working on this summer. And this is kind of giving them a little teaser, right? That's why they have an appetite when you go, or a mouche bouche when you're at a restaurant, kind of just taste the palate and like, ooh, I want to come back. I'm excited for this. You test them. But once they get here, it's like, all right, here's a syllabus. And it doesn't have to be a full-on syllabus. It's just kind of a, layman's terms that kind of transfer over to them of saying, here's the project. This is kind of an idea where we want to go, but really give them the freedom to let them do it, because they may surprise you with better results and a better idea than you had ever imagined. And that's one thing I really encourage, is that give them kind of an idea what you want, but let them explore that. And by opening up the communications, that if they get stuck, if they need to test out their questions or their ideas with you or the managers, have them have that in that open communications. Two more other areas to really kind of take in mind when you're thinking about intern projects here is thinking about, how will you track and collect for approvals for the submitted intern project? You have multiple groups who are like, I have a need for an intern. Here's all my ideas. How will you start vetting through that? And then lastly, how will the interns' finished work be presented, right? We don't want them to say, I did this whole thing and now bye. No, we want them to present on the work, so that way everyone sees the pride that they have, and you can have pride in showing off what the impact that interns make. And again, thinking about that buy-in you had to get from the business, that's another way to buy in the business again to reproduce this internship program the following year, because you're like, look how successful it is. And if we keep doing this, it'll get better and better. So let's talk about the scary part, right? I love this picture of these two kids. They're so excited about money. I get excited about money. Who doesn't get excited about money? I mean, if I see $1 on the ground, I'm going to pick it up. It's the same thing about when you're talking about budget. I mean, really budget. You can run a program as far as like events and things like that without money, and you can still create a positive experience. However, if you do have the capability to create, have a little bit of a budget, oops, sorry about that, to work with your interns, then just keep doing that. So apologize for that. Oh, I don't know why that's doing that. Here we go here. Let me go back. I apologize for my technical difficulties. I run a program. I'm not on the technical aspect of things. That's why I hire interns, and we have amazing engineers that help with the technical stuff. So I apologize for that. But I'm thinking about when it comes to like your foundations, your budgets, there are a few different things you can take in consideration when trying to price it out. If you're running events, the cost of the event. If you're trying to get people to come to it, maybe even employees to interact with the interns, maybe you run a participation raffle. Emma's talking about, hey, we're giving away some free project tickets, for you all to stay in, ask questions, and because you're here and taking a part of it, same thing for that, really enticing people. And then thinking about food, the biggest thing to win somebody over, right, is through their stomach. At least that's how my grandma used to tell me, win somebody over is through their stomach. Invite them to your table, invite them to the kitchen, work with them, cook with them, and you get to learn more about them. Same thing. You get to entice your interns, learn about them through food. You'd be surprised how many interns really open up when there's a plate of food in front of them, just kind of chit-chatting. But it also makes them feel more comfortable to say, hey, maybe I don't have to talk the whole time. I can fill the gap of time by just eating something. So that's where food kind of comes into play there. As well, thinking about, do you want to give them a welcome gift? Again, this is not something that has to be big and extravagant. You see it all over the place where it's I got a t-shirt and a laptop and a backpack. It doesn't have to be that. It could be just, hey, here's a cool t-shirt. Maybe here's some pens. Here's a cool custom lanyard that you can use later. So, but thinking about different things that works within your budget, pricing out different vendors and seeing what's good. And remember, sometimes it's good to do one great quality item that has your brand on it that they'll use over and over again versus quantity. It's like, here's this and that and blah, 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 blah. When they're like, cool, this is junk, I'm just going to throw it away. And then you lose the opportunity to brand yourself. When it's quality and it's brand that you're reusing it, you're getting exposure when they go back on campus or they have other people coming to their house and they're seeing that like, oh, what's Viasat? Did you work there? What do they do? It's starting those conversations. And again, hopefully building that referral pipeline for you and getting people to stay with you. And so again, talking about the brands, when I try to think of, a welcome gift for our interns here at Viasat, I try to think about the 4 somethings. So something to wear, something to use, something to carry their stuff in, and something fun. So a couple years ago, we did something to wear. We always do a intern shirt. It has always a Viasat name on it. We change it up every year so that it's kind of like their own intern cohort. That we see people around like, oh, I know what year you were an intern, right? Something to use. So we're thinking maybe it's a Viasat branded mug, maybe it's a Viasat branded pen, a Viasat branded lanyard, rechargeable power bank, something like that. Something to carry in. So we know they're moving from office to office. We want them to be careful with their laptops. Say, hey, let's give them a cool little backpack they can use at the gym, or they can take it to road tripping while they're exploring the area of San Diego or wherever we have them at, kind of getting used to their city while they're here. And then lastly, something fun. I know we did fidget spinners a couple years ago, back when fidget spinners were kind of out and coming. We've done umbrellas, we've done sunscreen, we've done Viasat branded towels, things like that. So just, again, something different. So it's like kind of out of the box. But again, it's not necessary. You can still create a welcoming experience by just creating great managers. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute. And then lastly, thinking about that is, who do you want to recognize as a moment of gratitude? You can send cards, and maybe you have a small budget to buy cards that say, hey, Jill out in human resources, I appreciate you helping to start and going above and beyond with our interns and getting them onboarded, having the communications. We couldn't be successful without you. Showing those small levels of gratitude really makes a huge impact. And so you want to be able to make sure you take a moment to stop and say thank you, right? Nothing matters more than when somebody comes back to you and says, hey, thank you. I know maybe not everyone else recognized it, but I did. And that makes a huge impact. So again, thinking about how you can go back and recognize somebody. So I've been saying it and I've been alluding to it, but the right managers make the biggest impact. Year over year here at Viasat, we have seen from the surveys we have collected from our interns, and even from our intern managers who were nervous about being an intern manager, is that yeah, the events are fun. Yes, I got to meet management and it was fun and all, and it was cool. And you gave us food and you gave us cool swag, and the shirt was so soft. I was sleeping in it and living in it every day. Okay, maybe not that aspect that far, but it's great. But the thing that made it the most important was my manager. Yes, the project was cool, or maybe I didn't like my project, but my manager made it fun. I grew from them because they shared their expertise with me of how I can grow. I thought I could fix it this way, but they said, hey, no, we've already tried that. Let's try it this way. And I never would have thought that because I got so siloed in my education. Something about the interns is that they're just bursting to put their education to the work and to test it out. When they're in class, they're given a project and the project is create this and code that and make this presentation with an end result. The manager is either going to give them a pass, fail, or, a letter grade. Well, that's it. Once they're done, it's no biggie. But when they get to see their work come to life within a company and see the company say, this is amazing, we're going to put this to use, or I can't wait to have this production created, or this video that you created for us as a promo for our company within their marketing team. Hey, now it's on TV, or hey, we're going to use this in this presentation. It makes an impact and it gives them pride. But they couldn't have that pride and knowledge of how to put it to test without the right managers. Because the managers are sharing their experience, they're sharing their knowledge, but not just that. As the interns are bringing in cool ideas, you're really growing your employees to think, outside the box, be more innovative, and try to test their knowledge, right? Sometimes we all kind of get in our work, we get in our things, we come in, we're going to answer our emails, we're going to make our calls, we're going to do this because this is what we know. But when you get to try a new innovative idea, something that you've been percolating on for a while, and the result is amazing, you're like, yes, okay, let's do this. It's the same thing for the managers. They're testing out their knowledge, they're testing out their leadership abilities with the interns and testing out new ideas with these intern projects. And when they see how great they become, they themselves as employees get a sense of pride. And when they have a sense of pride of ownership of their interns and the work they're doing, they're going to take pride in their work with the company they're at. And when they're prideful in the company they're at, they're not going to be looking at other places to go, right? When you have a happy employee, they're going to want to stay around because they know they're making that, and they're going to try different things of, hey, maybe I'll go up into a different leadership role. So again, the right managers make the biggest impact. But how do you pick the right managers? Sometimes it's a test and fail. I'll be honest. Sometimes we get managers and we do have to kind of groom them along the way or kind of work through them of, hey, listen, you got to talk to your intern. You can't just shove a YouTube video at them and hope they learn. No, you got to work through them at the projects. And we'll go a little bit more of that kind of how do you train your interns correctly. So let's think about this. I know I've been kind of talking, so hopefully I still have you all engaged here. So we talked about the buy-in, right? We talked about the foundation of it. Now let's talk about the structure. As you're creating your house, right? How are you going to make it feel? What do you want it to be? Do you want it to be modern and cool? Do you want it to be open concept where it's, level set here at Viasat where we try to be a flat organization, so kind of an open concept, I guess, in a way. And that if you have a question, you have a problem, let's talk regardless of your title so you can grow. So what does that structure look like? So when you're thinking about structure, right, you're thinking about different things like training and supporting your intern managers, thinking about your intern onboarding. How do you set them up from success from day one? Thinking about different kind of events you can do. Different things you can think about is, evaluation of performance. How do you look at your interns and say, are you doing a good job? Because I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Because at the end of the day, right, this is your pipeline that's going to dictate whether or not you want to hire them back because you're using this to grow your company. And then lastly, really kind of thinking about the feedback you want to receive from your interns and your intern managers. You don't want to, change them so they give you the answers you want, but you're hoping that you give them the best program and experience while they're here, that the feedback shows without you saying, oh yeah, you were fun, right? We're not doing leading questions and leading answers. We want them to be open and honest, and sometimes the honesty hurts, but that's how you grow. So going into the structure. So the biggest thing, like I talked about, managers make the biggest impact. But in order to have impactful managers, you need to have impactful manager trainings. So thinking and telling them, hey, what is the purpose of this program? Get their buy-in, talking to them about the basics. Hey, you can't make them go overtime if they don't want to. If they're in certain states, there are California and other labor meals breaks laws that we have to abide by, right? Most of your interns you're coming in are going to be hourly rate students. They're not going to be coming in at that salary where they pop in, pop out, right? So there's some rules they have to work through. What are infos that the interns are receiving? So, kind of working in partnership with your internal stakeholders, right? It can't just be the intern managers who set everything up. You normally have your human resources department that are doing all the onboarding. And so they're learning some information there. And so they're going to come to the managers and ask them questions. And the managers, you want them to know what they're hearing so that way if they have questions on it, they're answering that. Or if not, the managers know and feel comfortable to say, hey, I don't know, but I'm going to loop in somebody in payroll can help you answer that. So making sure you're creating that great partnership through them. And getting them prepared for work and the interns work. So, trying to say like, hey, do some welcome calls, set them up, give them a teaser, get them excited. Talking about setting up their desk. What kind of equipment do they need? Are they working in a testing experience? Are they going to be needing multiple monitors to be able to be successful? Is it just one monitor? Is it desktop? Is it a laptop? Whatever it is, the managers are going to know what's best because they're working on that stuff and using that same setup for themselves every day. Now, it may not be like the highest RAM and things like that because their interns are only here for a certain amount of time. And so you got to think about, okay, how can I refresh this and reuse this for other hires that come back and whatnot and repurpose it. So you may not get them, a $10,000 setup, but maybe it's a $2,000 setup or for $1,000 setup, whatever it may be that fits in your budget. But making sure that they feel comfortable when they have their own personal work area. Maybe it's a collaboration area, maybe it's their own office, maybe it's just a desk. Obviously, we're not going to be shoving them in the closet and saying, we'll see you later in a couple of weeks and hopefully you do your project. No, we're going to make them feel included and part of the family, part of the team, right? Thinking again about that house and how you want your house to feel welcoming and warm to them. And then also thinking about in preparing for them to start here with your company, what kind of requests to access to networks, kind of specialized programmings of licenses will they need? Will it be to be hopefully pre-installed on their desktop prior to them starting? So when they, push that start button and their computer percolates and comes on, they're like, all right, I got everything set up. All I need to do is open my email, put in my signature, and let's get it jamming. Help them, get them ready to go. You maybe give them that first week to kind of get up to speed, and that second week they're hitting the ground running. Hopefully you're getting the most out of them. As we go on, you kind of think about what is there to do while an intern is on site, helping them to know, get them ingrained in your culture, right? What is your company culture and your feel? What is your area around you that has to offer them, because they're thinking long term. They're coming in thinking long term. You're coming in thinking long term. And so you want to help them to can make those connections. And making those connections while they're here is also about helping them to network while they're here, so setting up reoccurring meetings with their managers, helping them to invite them to team meetings so that way they feel like it's a one team environment for them and they can contribute their ideas, question what's going on, so that way they can feel like, yes, I'm an intern, but really I'm making an impact as though I'm a regular employee. And in that, they're able to make networks and connections. And when they're making those connections here, they're also helping that for when they leave to bring in referrals for you. Again, thinking about the future of going always back and thinking about what is the end results that we're hopefully using our internship program to create a referral program or a pipeline to fill our future roles, and going back to that forecasting needs, right? And to expand your company and expand you all and your programs and hopefully go more. We've really found success here at Viasat of doing those recurring meetings, especially being in a remote environment with COVID. We really had to kind of change and kind of flip how we did things here at Viasat. Usually it's so much easier when you can just kind of walk down the hall and talk to somebody or pop into someone's kind of doorway and say, hey, you have a minute? But when you're in a remote environment, it's a little bit harder. So, and it's harder to get those interns to kind of step out and help them. So we've noticed that if we have the managers kind of do those recurring meetings, it forces those connections and it helps them to feel more comfortable to talk about what problems they're having, questions and things like that, to go to those managers or to escalate where they need it appropriately. So that's kind of a tip that we have here at Viasat. And then again, being part of the meetings, really making sure your interns are part of your company and your team really helps with that. And then always letting your managers know, what are some basic trainings that they need to know, again, that are HR related or team related to help get their interns up to speed. Here at Viasat, we are, because we've gone remote and whatnot, we've utilized a few different communication networks to kind of work with our teams. So we have our own intranet where we have kind of websites that are built within our company to help our managers kind of utilize a kind of a toolkit so they can reference back. You know, maybe it's a welcome email template they can use that they can just populate in, plug and fill in people's names, stuff like that, so they can reach out and feel successful with that and reaching out and comfortable without saying, well, how do I start a conversation? You can help them. Or what was our training again? And is there slides they can reference back? They have that guidance to go back. So that way they're not constantly bugging you, which I know we want to support our managers as much as we can, but you also have another job. So how do we give the tools to succeed, right? Teach them to fish, not keep giving them the fish through that. And then lastly, as well, another tip is to create a communication channel for them to ask questions, answer questions, and to create a community around the managers to be able to talk with each other and communicate, right? And to answer each other's questions. Here at Viasat, we utilize Slack. We love Slack. And so I've created a Slack channel for all of our managers to come together. So if they have questions, I can quickly ping them back, or other managers can quickly jump in. But as well, in my Slack channel, I've also pulled in points of contact from different departments to help answer their questions that they may have. So I pulled in somebody from human resources, a business partner. I pulled in their directors. I pulled in somebody from IT, somebody from facilities if they're on site, things like that, because we want to be able to give them the answer as quickly as possible without causing delays, right? So if their intern has a question, they're going to their manager. And when the manager doesn't know, they're coming to us. And if we don't know, we're reaching out. You know, that's, 3 different levels of trying to get that answer before we get to the intern, which is causing that delay. But then in the meantime, the intern's going, gosh, why don't you guys know? How do I get these answers, right? Because we're in a realm of instant gratification, of instant finding the answers. We want to be able to set everyone successfully up to be able to get those answers as quickly as possible to answer those interns. So again, helping to do that helps to create those answers as quickly as possible and lesser those delays of communication so that we can help people feel more successful. As well, I also have an intern channel for their interns, so the interns can ask their questions to me and to a few other people to answer it if they don't want to go to their managers as well. It's a nice way to broadcast different events that are coming up, engage them, throw trivia questions at them, again, testing their knowledge, but in a kind of a fun, spirited way. So I know I've been talking a lot. I'll keep going through this. Thinking about time of what we got going, I'll kind of speed up just a little bit more on this. But as you see, same thing as we do for intern managers and setting them up for success. You on the reverse side want to make sure you set your intern up for success as well. So again, preparing them for when they just start, talking about the orientation and going through some training basics. Preparing them from work, again, getting them and talking with them and engaging with them from the moment they hire to the moment they start. Before they start with you, kind of keep that communication open, doing some welcome emails, sending them their first day agenda so they know what to expect, sending them the first week of expectations so they know, okay, first day I'm doing orientation, second day I'm doing this, third day I do that. That way, their very first week is as smooth as possible. So if you need to build up the other weeks because something happens, you have turnover, whatever, you have that little bit of a leeway buy-in to be able to do that. And then lastly, make sure that they're filling out all their HR related paperwork or clearances, whatever they need to be set up. Next, orientation. Again, really utilizing a point of the day, maybe their first day, their second day, to really gather the interns in and say, hey, you all are interns. We're all starting together. It's going to be great. We want to make sure we set you up for success. And in order to do that, let's talk about who we are as a company. So maybe doing an introduction of the company, the purpose of the role, the history of the company, talking to them about the labor and meal law so they know, because sometimes interns need to be reminded you can take a lunch, and sometimes it's mandatory that you take a lunch and a break. So if not, sometimes we kind of get in the zone and we forget, oh man, it's 3 o'clock and I haven't eaten, I haven't gotten up to pee or any of things like that. It's kind of nice to remind them of that. Talk to them about HR related things, who they can escalate up to if they feel uncomfortable about certain situations, potentially if they have a death in the family, that, hey, if they if you offer bereavement and it translates over to them, how they can utilize and talk about that, or if they're having problems, how they can work through those problems. Again, we don't want them to feel unconnected and unloved and feeling like they're just siloed and that I'm an intern and I just stick with it. No, we want you to feel comfortable. Same way you would make your employees feel comfortable, you want to make sure your interns feel comfortable. And then going on to any security related things, don't go sharing your password, don't go broadcasting everything you're doing, because I'm sure what you're working on is proprietary information, right? You don't want your competitors to know about it. Sometimes you need to remind them of, hey, these are the cautions you take to prevent phishing that's happening, malicious malware that could happen to be sent to you and things like that. Because we do know interns are susceptible to that. They don't really they may get an email which they think, oh, it's a vendor or it's somebody from the company I just didn't know about and haven't met yet. And it's like, no, stop. We don't know them. Like, send this all to somebody else and let them figure it out. Oh, good. You didn't create something that would have crashed our whole system. There are some blunders that do happen here and there, but, for the most part, you want to help to prevent them. And preventative actions and information is the best thing to help that for the most part. Again, and you want to get them hyped up for December. Talk about different events, some different networking opportunities, and then different points of contacts of who they can go to. Training basics, I'm pretty sure that's kind of, you understand what that is, how they can, whatever HR related trainings they need to do, and then team related trainings. There's just something that they need to do with their teams that it's very secure, so they need to go through CompStat training. Do they need to do kind of a quick course on how to work with Six Sigma or Lean or something like that, or working with this program that you guys have that they can run through, do that. Again, the same tip here for the intern onboarding is going to be very related to the intern managers, which is creating a communication channel to answer questions they have and really keeping them engaged throughout the summer of different upcoming things. So talking about different events, I know I've mentioned it a few different times before, and like I said, free is for me. If I can try to save a buck or two, let's do it. But you can create some fun experience without going over the top. You don't have to rent out, a whole stadium to keep them engaged. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. No, sometimes the greatest things about events is how personal it is, how small and intimate it is, so they can really connect and feel like they're a priority, are kind of the best ones. But you also think about some fun strategic events, so maybe like a trivia night, things like that. So be strategic about the different events. Here at Viasat, we really utilize we created goals within our internship program and within our team, and saying the goals of our program is to create an amazing pipeline, to create an amazing brand, is to really develop leaders from our students, but then those employees here. We have goals that we want to do. But in order to create these goals and for them to get results from them, we've created what we call pillars. And these pillars support our goals and really kind of dictate how we structure our program. And again, everyone's a little bit different. That's just how we kind of do it here at Viasat, because it helps us to be aligned and to go back to the business, because the business will go, well, you just took the interns out bowling. What does that have to do with us? And to us, it created a network opportunity. It was able for them to be able to go out and see the different community around them of things to keep them engaged. Okay, well, you went to a Padres game. What does that have to do with anything? Well, one, they could get invested. They could see how Viasat has invested in the Padres. And we have a cool big sign and all. But it's just different things like that. Lunch with the leader. Cool. They're eating more free food. No, but they're learning about the company different from somebody higher up. But it's in an intimate way that they feel connected. Hey, I just got an in with the top dogs, and that's cool. Did you done that? Nope, I did. That's what we have going on here. So, trying to think about it. One thing you can do to kind of help you kind of gauge of like, what do the interns want, is really kind of polling your interns prior to them starting. Again, engaging with them before they start and asking them, hey, Do you have food restrictions? Because you want to be sensitive to people who are maybe gluten, vegan, need to be kosher, or certain allergies where they come like, cool, this is amazing, I can't eat anything here. And then all of a sudden your food goes to waste. So really kind of knowing your audience, seeing what they're interested in, what they value. And you'd be surprised, not all of them value kind of free food or a fun event. Sometimes they value, I just want to network. I want to meet people. I want to learn about the company. So tailoring that based upon their interest. And then if you're offering prizes for different fun events or things like that, what kind of prizes are they interested in? Are they interested in free swag? Cool. I got backpacks galore. Have a free backpack. Save me money, because if not, it's just sitting merchandise there. Or do you want a $20 Amazon gift card? Cool. I'm all down for a $20 Amazon gift card. Finding what that is to them, so that way you can kind of tailor it to them. Granted, do what's also best for your company. Next is create a calendar, so that way they know holistically throughout the summer what they can come to expect. You don't have to do an event every week or every day. That can get exhausting for you and burnout, and for the company, thinking budget wise and everything like that. But maybe every other week there's something going on, or maybe it's once a month you do a big event. Whatever it is, helping them create a calendar hold, event management, things like that, helps them get excited and hyped up. Recruit help. This is huge. I know, as you're creating a program and somebody who likes to try to do it all, I can't do it all. And it really takes a village to get everyone in and to enjoy themselves and to really kind of grow and to make something successful. And you'd be surprised, again, about different ideas people bring in. And it's really allowing employees to feel connected into what is going on at the company, to allow for them to really, again, say, this was fun, it's engaging, how do I do this again next year? Well, if they're thinking about the future of next year, that means they're staying now, and they're staying in the time in between. So you're retaining those employees, right? And then how will you advertise this? And is this time paid during the events? Sometimes it doesn't all need to be paid, and that's okay. We've learned here at Viasat is that sometimes interns are like, oh, this is paid? No, this is just kind of a free time. So if you want to join, kind of flex your time or move your time to do this. And they're like, okay, it's fine. It's important to me, so I will be there and I will make that time to still do that. So no, you don't always have to pay them, but sometimes it may be appropriate that if it's kind of an educational piece, that you go ahead and say, hey, we're seeing this as an investment into you and growing you as an individual. So we're going to go ahead and pay for your time here. So clock this time against this job code or whatever it may be. So just kind of keep that in mind. Tips on it, just have fun and utilize time to really bond with the students, right? We're playing the long game with the students. We're not here to play the short game, get in and get out, right? Even though they're only here for a certain amount of time, we're really playing the long game because we're thinking about our forecasting and that pipeline needs, and to build those bonds with the students. Because if a student feels connected with a company and with a recruiter, they're just going to say, they're not going to say yes to everything, but they may negotiate, which is a good employee and a good student to do. But they're going to say, you know what, you can't give me, the 6 figures I'm dreaming about, but if you're giving me this, but you're telling me in like 2 or 3 years I could grow this amount, okay, let's do that. Let's do that, because I care about this and the culture you're creating and the experience I've learned here at Vias, your company, not just Vias, but within your company, to want to come back to you. And if it's not back to you, hopefully they're referring other people to, again, help them come to you. So we've talked about this whole house and the program through the whole process, right? We've talked about getting the buy-in from the business. We've talked about how do you set the foundation to be successful and making sure everything goes smoothly and all those components. We talked about the structure of how you want things to be and how to make it fun, different events, set them up for success, things like that. And now your house is finished, right? You finished painting, you bought the perfect rug, you made sure you feel comfortable. Now you have your finished house to results. Now it's time to say, listen, welcome home. Everyone come and see what I've been working on, right? Your finished results of your house. You're showing it off. You're throwing yourself a welcome, a housewarming party, right? So when you're thinking about your finished results, you're really going to start thinking about in the beginning, what are some top three performance indicators to know that your program was successful, right? We talked about getting feedback and trying to solicit feedback, not just from the interns, but from people at the internal key holders, the managers, HR team, people that helped you create this program. What feedback do you have? That we know is, ooh, that was a hiccup, that was a rough time, but how do we focus and grow that next year, right? You finish your internship program. Hopefully you have almost 9 months to a year later before you restart it again to improve and make those changes, buy those programs you needed to really be more successful. So really thinking about that feedback, again, getting those results, analyzing, thinking about it, and kind of sharing those results back out to the business. And really involve your internal stakeholders to give ideas and tell them, hey, because they might have been there from the beginning, but they weren't there for the end. And so they want to know, was it successful? I tried to make it helpful. Was it? They want that feedback. So give them that feedback. Hey, your orientation was amazing. They loved it. It was engaging. They got that. But maybe the offboarding piece was a little lackluster. There was some confusion. Maybe we can really focus next year on the offboarding piece. So really, again, help them through that process. Another key and performance indicator that we utilize here at Viasat, and I would highly suggest of you all thinking about, is thinking about that conversion rate. The rates of somebody who was an eligible intern to receive a returning offer for either an internship role or university grad role. I call it university grads. It could be early careers. We call them university grads here at Viasat just because they're just obviously graduating from their universities and things like that. Simple phonetics of it all. But it just that whole process, are they eligible to be able to be extended an offer? Did they do something that was great enough for us to merit, for us to say, yes, we want you back? And then thinking about those who we extended offers to and who are eligible for it, how many of them accepted those roles? And then you can always go into the retentions and things like that. But using those conversion rates will help you then go back to when you need to do buy-in again in a sickler or level of going back to the business saying, let's do this again next year. You're able to show them the key results that, hey, we use this pipeline. They fulfilled 40% of our pipeline. So when you had to really go out and fill 60% versus having to start a whole year fulfilling 100%. We were able to jumpstart our thing by saying 40% knocked out. We spend this time to help our recruiters to kind of slow down, find quality people, not be so stressed out because we fulfilled at least 40% using the internship, 50%, 60%, whatever that conversion rate is for you, using that. And then lastly, really thinking about how successful intern events were. You want to create, you got buy-in from the interns, you got feedback, you in your head were thinking, this is an amazing event. But yet the signups of it was amazing, but the attendance was low. Why was the attendance low? Was it because the timing of it? Was it because the speakers? Was it a last minute thing? Things like that. And then also, what feedback did you get after the event that you collected from them? What are they telling you? Hey, you pumped it up saying we're going to go to the Padres game and it was going to be great. And we're going to have so much fun. But I got there and everyone left me and I didn't know where to buy my ticket or how I got my ticket. I couldn't find my seat. It was in the nosebleeds, things, whatever the event may be. Take that. Don't see it as a terrible thing. That's also a learning opportunity for you to grow or for you to say, hey, this was amazing. How do we duplicate this year for year so it becomes almost like a Flagstaff event for you? I know at Viasat, we like to do what we call death hack or hackathon. So we have a lot of engineers, and they have a lot of intuitive and inventive ideas, and we utilized and saw every year from our event feedback, and the feedback that we got from interns and their managers was, this program that we did is amazing, so let's do it year over year, and we just kept improving on it. And so it becomes something that's kind of like, that's what you're known for. And that's something that you can really pitch year over year during the interns or when you're hyping up events of like, hey, we have Dev Hack. And you don't have to be an engineer that knows how to code to come be a part of it. You can be a marketing person. You can be an ops person, somebody who just sees something going on that we need to fix the problem. Come and bring your inventive problems and create this proposal and share it. And that's also another way to get leadership buy-in, because they're able to see them creating futuristic goals and ideas for them to come back and say, wow, that's great. Maybe we should do that. And then that leads that pipeline to bring that person back in to work on it and everything like that. So it's just an amazing opportunity and how we kind of utilize that. And again, we see interns year one to really network with their leadership, and it's kind of another way we do that. Moving on to next, which is the final results. Again, we have everything. You created this house, you bought this house, you set it up for success. Now you have your final project. And that's just kind of just the internship experience, really just kind of thinking about from the ground up, how do we make this an amazing time for everyone? How do we structure it to be successful where it's not on an even ground, it's nice and solid. Again, thinking about, you don't have to make it so it's big and grand. You can start small, and it's okay to have problem years to really reflect on it and come back and change it. Maybe you bought the wrong color for paint for the wall, but then you found something else that's better, and you're like, listen, this is perfect. It's the right tone that I'm looking for. That's the right forecasting number. That's the right ratio. That's the right project. That's the right manager. That's the right experience, the right event to really grow. And it doesn't have to be big. But once you get that small win and you gain those confidence and you gain that buy-in, you can grow and grow and grow and be successful. So that's my whole spiel of the blueprints for creating a successful internship program. So I just want to thank you all for staying here and staying on and listening to me talk and share what we have here at Viasat. We're grown, how you can hopefully replicate this for the future for yourself. So thank you so much. I do love to connect with new people and share my experience, any advice I have, or learn any advice from you all, so we can be a community and a network with each other. So feel free to look me up on LinkedIn and connect that way, or go ahead and drop me a line at my email at megan.carongcong@viasat.com. I'm here to help. But again, thank you, everyone, and I appreciate your time and being here.
So, Megan, that was an incredible amount of information in a short amount of time. I have to tell you, I do have a problem with your presentation. I sit through a lot of these webinars, and I always have a lot of questions. And as soon as I wrote down a question, you would answer it. And so, so that was. I was very impressed by how much information you relayed in such a short amount of time and answering those basic questions. So I'm struggling with additional questions, but we do have some questions that people ask. So let me ask you one of them. So one of them is, how do you ensure you are outreaching and recruiting from diverse groups so that every qualified prospect has an opportunity to participate in your internship? For example, what student groups or industry organizations do you target? And I know, Emma, you also work on that on diversity, but let me have Megan go first, and maybe you could augment that as well.
Of course. So diversity is huge here at Viasat, right? If you're looking for a huge range of talent, you're going to get a great range of inventive ideas. And it's not just, when people think of diversity, they think it may be just male or female or ethnicity, but it also can be age range, right? We have people who were in a career and they want to make a shift in careers. They're not losing that experience, right? They're creating that experience and taking that along the way. So you also have to think about ages, different levels. And so what we like to do is that we like to go out and we go and recruit at different universities across the US and even internationally. We have a career site, so it's open for everyone, and we talk about great opportunities you have here at Viasat. But then we also work with different networking. So, we try to partner up with, maybe thinking about SWE, so Society of Women Engineers. We participate in diverse different conferences. So Grace Hopper, which is a women engineer, women-based conference that's huge here within the US. And it's not just engineers, it's, operations, and it's not just undergrads, it's young professionals, it's professionals. We even get some males from it too, because they're like, I'm a huge feminist and I believe in this and this is amazing, I want to partner, and we get them from there. So really partnering up with strategic groups and reaching out to them. And it doesn't have to be, hey, here's a lot of money. It's, hey, how do I help your students? Can I attend a group or an organization meeting and just talk about the company? Or are you guys offering interviewing skill sets or resume reads? I love to help your students grow and talk about the resumes of how they can say, hey, that was cool, but maybe use a different phrase. Or maybe put this here. So helping to do free things to help them. Doesn't always have to be costly, but really being strategic in how you want to grow diversity wise. It will help you kind of find those right niche groups. Emma, anything you want to share to that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I work with a lot of those organizations on campus, and then they always say to me, like, we're looking for meaningful experiences, not only as an internship, a full-time opportunity, but also companies that really value diversity and recruiting that diverse talent. So it's awesome to hear that you're present at conferences and also working with the organizations directly, because I know one of their main concerns and focus is just working for a company that doesn't always align with their same mission and criteria. So it's awesome that you fulfill that, but also reinforce and really stand by those beliefs. So.
Yeah, I would also say we have different what we call ERGs or employee resource groups. So we have like women in technology, we have HOLA, which is our Hispanic groups, and really connecting our interns or our students and our employees with them to say, hey, we have communities here so you can feel connected. It may not be the direct team that you're working it with, but it is here within the company, and this is how you can get involved. So again, once you got them, you want to retain them to show them you're not the outlier because you're joining us here. There's others here that can help support you and create that community.
Well, that's awesome. It's great that there's communities within the larger community at Viasat, and I think that's something all companies should strive for. Just diversity inclusion is even more imperative than ever in the workplace, and it's just awesome, not awful, that you have so many great things going on. But yeah, so I mean, on the topic of recruitment, are there any strategies that Viasat uses to attract and retain top university talent throughout the whole recruitment process?
Definitely. So again, going back to those different diversity groups, offering different areas. So you got to think about how and where you want to bring in those top talents. Are you looking at them to be an intern and hopefully grow year over year within Viasat and keep coming back as an intern before you project them out to a university grad role? Or are you looking for somebody who's young career that they're a senior and now they're going to be that? So really kind of tailoring different events in which we do on campus, because you can't just do straight career fairs. Career fairs are amazing. You're going to get a lot of different candidates. They can be very overwhelming, and maybe you're not getting the right candidates every single time. So maybe it's, hey, let me bring in an employee who's talking about this different technology that we're doing at our company that's insightful for these students, that maybe will bring in that certain talent around it. So if I'm thinking about let's pick on some of my engineers, right? And we're thinking of design thinking, right? It's a newer concept that will really intrigue the students, but maybe they're not really hearing about it in classes so much. So hey, bring them in, learn about Viasat, learn about this topic of design thinking, how you can really utilize that when you go back and utilize different courses or things like that to really inspire you. And so kind of giving them something to help them grow, not always making them feel like, hey, this is who we are and that's it, cut dry. No, how do we benefit them and how do we grow them to keep them going? But another recruiting strategy is that once you've got them, how do we keep them entertained to keep them staying, that we don't lose them? So we have here at Viasat is a program that I kind of run, and it's called the NU's program, or the Accepted Not Yet Started. So it's a strategic program in that we communicate to all of our candidates that have already started with or accepted an offer to keep them engaged about what's happening at Viasat. So kind of giving them the lowdown of things that's happening, sending maybe some gifts, or hey, we're thinking about you type of thing. We're setting up strategic phone calls to connect them with their hiring managers, with their recruiters, with their sign managers throughout their experience and that interim from when they accepted to when they start. So that way it keeps them engaged, because that point of why you're losing them for the most part potentially to other companies is, yes, pay and things like that. If you're going to lose them to pay, you're going to always lose them to pay. It's whatever your company can do. But if you're losing them to project, is it because You lost them to the project because you didn't communicate what they could be working on the summer and what the company is doing? Are you losing them because you were just radio silent? And to them, they're like, hey, I accepted, but did I really accept? Because if I accepted, you would want to keep talking with me, right? And this is a very low lift commitment that we do. So we try to be strategic. So once they start, we maybe do like monthly newsletters of, hey, have you checked out this video? Did you see this article? Did you learn about this? Hey, this is what we're doing here at Viasat. Is that important to you? Because it's important to us. And we're thinking about come wintertime when it's finals. Hey, good luck on finals. Hey, they're thinking about me. Small actions like that, small connections can keep them engaged. And then yet making it personal. We know with this generation coming in currently, they're all about the personalization. So when they accept their offer, hey, yeah, call is cool. Yes, again, the offer, fantastic. But hey, I just received a handwritten message or note card from my recruiter a week or two later that says, hey, we're excited. Thank you so much for accepting. It's personalized. To them, it's like, oh, that's sweet. I didn't. Thank you. Or those phone calls. Hey, how are you doing? Just wanted to check in with you. Do you have any questions? Hey, I've been learning about this. I wanted to invite you to this call because I think you'd really enjoy it. Again, making it personalized, making it intimate, and making it to them, but keeping them connected with low lift and spreading the wealth of that work amongst a few different groups. So it's not all on you, it's on others. So it's building that community, that network.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, just the attentiveness to detail, I think just goes such a long way, because not only does it reflect highly on Viasat, but it also creates such a meaningful experience where the intern feels valued, included, a part of the company culture. I think that's just so key and such a great tool to help differentiate Viasat from all the other companies, because students have so many options to where they want to go, so many different opportunities, and that's such an important factor that can help students make that tough decision when it comes to accepting that full-time position or internship opportunity. So that's awesome. And
the other thing, and I think Megan touched on it anyway, they really want to hear from engineers, right? And so we take engineers on campus. And by the way, the irony of taking engineers away from the office into the campus, they love it, right? That's actually a retention. People love being involved and talking to students, so that's a plus as well. But they really want to hear from the engineers. One of the things, Viasat obviously has a lot of resources, right? And so one of the things that Emma does on campus is there's a question here that says, do you have any extra advice for small startup internships? And one of the things is, you're obviously not going to have the resources to be on campus and do all that. Emma, our talent director for the Jacobs Talent Initiative, thank you, Jacobs family, for providing primary funding, by the way. They can help you source interns and get you on campus and some other things. So keep that in mind as a resource. Emma also has some templates, some internship templates, and some other things that she provides companies. So just because you're a smaller company doesn't mean you can't have a very successful internship program.
Exactly. And just because people are giving out all this free stuff doesn't mean that students want all the free stuff. They just want to make those connections. They want to see what the impact they're going to make at the company and get a job at the end of the day, right? Their whole main goal is connect and get a job. And your thing is, I need people, so let's connect and get you that job. So it doesn't always have to be a lot of big fluffy stuff. I know we found success with COVID. It really helped us re-strategize. Is that going virtual, you're not giving out that free stuff. We're not doing those big expensive things, but we're hosting a free seminar, online to let them talk about it and things like that. And it's free to you and it's free to the students. So think about that and being small and strategic at those things. So it doesn't always have to be crazy. You don't have to always donate to a big organization. You can just say, hey, I can offer my service to give you insights of how to improve your resume or how to rock that interview. And it's free to you. It's low lift because, you're a paid employee, so you would be working anyways. But yet now you're just shifting the how you do it. And like Kevin said, engineers love to get out of the office and they take pride, especially if they're coming from San Diego or a San Diego local school. They're like, that's my alma mater. Let me show you where the best eating spots are. Let me tell you what happened here, things like that. They want to share their stories. And sometimes they're like, meeting those other students are like, hey, remember I told you that company? I'm here. Come on by. Let me show you. Let me connect you with somebody. So yeah, bring them around. Get them in, get them out.
I think that's probably a good place for us to start wrapping up. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're thinking that, geez, we can't hire, they used to call them fresh outs, right? Which is kind of somewhat of a derogatory term. Those days are over. Our universities are graduating some excellent candidates. We need to make sure they stay in the region. That's the whole reason for our Jacobs Talent Initiative. We want to make sure that we're investing in these students while they're here in the region. We want to make sure we keep them here in the region. I really want to give a big thank you to Viasat and to Megan. That was a great presentation. This is recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel. Emma, anything else for you or Megan on closing words? Oh, we got to give away the tickets, but I'll let you guys do any closing comments.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just want to reinforce that if you ever need help sourcing interns or you want to plan an event on campus to help spotlight your company, please reach out to me. My email's in the chat below, but it's also emma.reyes@techsd.org, and I'm happy to help out. Or if you want me to include anything in our monthly newsletter, it's a great way to reach students. We have over 350 students subscribed, so we have really great numbers. So please reach out.
And I just want to say, I know it can be scary to start an internship program, but it's really here for us to be successful and to help you through it. And it can really help your company. And again, work through those trouble years, start small and kind of grow organically. It is a benefit for you and your company. And I'm always here to help give advice along the way. So I really empower you all to do it. And you'll be surprised by how many people, especially executives and people who had those old perceived notions, how much and quickly those notions will change.
All right, thanks, Megan. Now, Sarah, I know you're going to edit this before it goes on YouTube, so you won't hear anyone's name or anything. But you're going to give away a couple of Padres tickets, correct? You're on mute.
I have 2 tickets to the Padres this Sunday, the Padres versus the Arizona Diamondbacks at 1:10 p.m. And I have entered your names into a digital draw, and we're just going to start that wheel.
I hope it's me. Oh,
Marlene.
No.
Oh, congrats.
All right, so I'll be Marlene, I'll be emailing you the link to accept your tickets from Ticketmaster. And thank you so much to everybody for joining us. Please keep an eye on the Tech San Diego events calendar for more upcoming events. Feel free to reach out to Emma Reyes if you have questions about how Tech San Diego can support your internship program. Feel free to reach out to Megan Carongcong if you have any questions about further questions about how Viasat runs their program and have specific questions for her. And her email was listed at we'll include her email as well. And I'm just going to close out this webinar. Thanks again for joining, and have a great rest of your day.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, bye.